Good morning, and welcome to day 3 of Sedona Wolf Week. We are Apex Protection Project. If you're just joining us for the very first time, I'm Paula.
And I'm Steve.
And we are also the co-founders of Sedona Wolf Week, along with our dear friends Plan B to Save Wolves. Now, if you have been participating in Sedona Wolf Week this week, hopefully you've really been enjoying our speakers. We've had the most amazing lineup of speakers this year.
We're so blown away this year.
And we know we've really been enjoying it. And if you're just joining us for the first time, we've been checking in with you on a daily basis, showing you a little bit behind the scenes at Apex, because normally you all would be getting to meet us, getting to meet our pack, firsthand. But because we can't do that this year, we wanted to do something else special.
So in this week, you've met Thor and Loki when they were puppies. You've been on a hike with us. You've had a vet visit with Kona. And today, you're going to feed the pack with us. So most people don't get to see this. And a lot of people ask us all the time, what do you feed your pack? What do you feed your pack? So we're going to go through everything that we feed them, how we feed them in the morning, all of the specialty diets. You're actually going to see the technique we use for feeding them, which is quite unusual when you see it. We have the inside crew, we have the outside pack, and each of them are fed a little bit differently depending on their personalities or who they're living with, and they all get a different diet. So we want to take you on this journey, and then again, as always, we will be back for a live Q&A in about, I think it's like 15 minutes long, something like that. So enjoy feeding the pack with Apex, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Because each of our pack members has special needs regarding age, weight, metabolism, and health, we've devised a special menu for each of the pups. We feed our pack twice a day. In the morning, their diet consists of raw meat and supplements, and a majority of that meat is donated by our wonderful meat manager at our local grocery store. Because their diet consists mainly of slab meat, we add a lot of supplements for extra nutrition, one of the most important ones being Bone Builder, which is a bone supplement that's necessary for healthy digestion of raw meat. There's also a probiotic, PhytoFlex, a glucosamine supplement for healthy joints, omega-3s for skin, hair, and also for some joint support, and even a vegetarian omega for Riggs because he loves to roll in the fish oil and then rub all over you. Each pack member gets approximately a pound of meat, depending on, again, their age, metabolism, and weight. And once all the ingredients are in the bowl, it's mixed really well so that no supplements are left in the bottom of the bowl. Thor unfortunately has inflammatory bowel disease, so he's on a special prescription diet of hypoallergenic food. Ryder's been hanging out with Kona, but now she has to go inside into her crate for her food so that she doesn't steal everyone else's.
Come on, let's go to bed.
Luckily, she's crate trained and likes being in there, so it's not a problem.
Go to bed. Good, go to bed.
Every pack member has a special place that they eat, and we have a special order that we feed them in so that there's less confusion. As you see, the director on his business call is escaping the chaos. Now, we deal with this occasionally where Thor really doesn't want to eat his food, and Betty uses a little bit of a firm voice because we don't want to baby him. And it takes a little coaxing, but usually once he gets going, he's happy to eat everything. We ask all of our pack members to sit, so it gives them a chance to calm down and we can put the bowl down safely.
Go to bed, Rex.
We feed most of our pack members in crates to maintain a positive association with them in case of an emergency where they might actually need to be crated. But in Riggs's case, there was an added benefit, which was that he started to feel safe in there. With 2 pack members in the same enclosure, this allows them to have their own space to eat peacefully and calmly without worrying about taking each other's food.
Wait, Riggs. Okay, let's go to bed.
When we first rescued Sarge, he was extremely food aggressive. You couldn't safely put the bowl down in front of him. So we devised a way of feeding him that involved turning slowly in a circle with the bowl of food and then gently sliding it along the floor. And so that's why now he has this routine of still doing his little circle before being fed. Over time, after building trust, he's much calmer now and feels safe even going in his crate to have his food. By the time Betty's fed Sarge, Riggs and Selena are finished, and it's time to let Riggs out of his crate. And now for the fun part.
Good morning, Apex. I think you're muted,
Good
Steve. There you are. Yay. How are you guys this morning?
We're good. We're really good. And I think we have a little surprise. Well, not surprise, but we're trying something new. We realized that Betty's car has Wi-Fi in it. So
Wow.
we're using that to go outside kennels while I'm inside in here. So hopefully our technical things will work. Let's see.
Okay. Well, before we dive into some questions, I know you wanted to introduce everyone today.
Yeah, so I've got Cole here today, and he's going to be interpreting for the deaf again. And outside, we have Chelsea and Paula, of course, and Rami. And Chelsea is our pack care manager, and she's in charge of a lot of the food and the nutrition and all of that stuff. So we wanted her to be a part of this Q&A.
Hi, Chelsea. It's good to see you. Hi, Rami. So one of the questions that we've gotten already is, that was quite an extensive menu, and I love seeing all of the different profiles in the frames. How do you decide what that menu is for each dog, for each wolf dog?
I think that's a question.
Do you have? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. We're doing this for the first time. Sorry, guys.
No
Okay,
worries. No worries.
Have a different menu based upon their weight, age, and activity level. It's taken us years to really perfect that, understand the difference between wolves and wolf dogs and what they require nutritionally. And, we've built that, really paying attention to how they eat and, making sure that they don't just throw their vitamins everywhere and pick out the yummy parts, because we really want to make sure that they have their balanced diet, which includes the raw in the morning, and then we do a kibble in the evening, which is formulated specifically for wolves.
Great, great. So that sounds like a very healthy menu. So one viewer would like to know, do they get special treats occasionally?
I'm going to answer that because she hates it because she's so healthy. We usually give them cooked steak, but occasionally we will cook up some hot dogs, and they love the hot dogs. But over the years, we stopped doing that so much under her guidance because it's really a lot of sodium and not that healthy, even though they love them. So we keep the hot dogs for those platinum moments where they need a really special, highly valued treat. Otherwise, we just cook up little steak bits and get them nice and crispy. And that's usually what we give them. We don't really give bones out very often. We don't really get a lot of bones, to be honest. So, and the thing about bones too is they tend to resource guard them, which can cause, unsafe behavior with each other sometimes or with us. So just to eliminate that, that chance of that happening, generally their diet is pretty much of a treat as it is. Hey, Kuna, buddy. They're like honked out. Come there.
And say,
It's very lazy too. Hey, Papa. Hey.
So in terms of their diet, I'm curious because I know that there's been some allergies and Thor, and you had a pretty in-depth discussion about that previously, but just in case we have some new listeners, how do you determine when one of them does need a special diet or a few more supplements or different supplements than everyone else?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, that's Chelsea. I was going to say a lot of that comes from Chelsea, but it's observation, and we do regular checkups, annual checkups, and also if there's something appears to be wrong, we'll do checkups too. So a lot of it is just extensive, watching them. And then Chelsea, do you wanna go into that a little more?
Sure, thanks. So we do have one animal with allergies now, and a very, very extreme allergies. It's a full-blown medical condition at this point, and it took us again a long time with a lot of help from veterinarians to figure out a healthy and balanced diet for him. So he actually has to eat a protein-based diet where the protein molecules have been processed so small that his body actually doesn't recognize that it is a meat protein. And he's also on a lot of medication to help keep his condition on track. And so that's one of the different meals that we prepare every day, where he gets a prescription diet with, it's a combination between wet and kibble.
Wow. And I'd like to use this opportunity to remind everyone again that they can help fund Thor's food through our auction site. It's about $100 a month, and there's lots of opportunities to keep Thor healthy and happy with all the good food he needs. We have another question regarding the treats that you guys talked about. Why do you cook the steak and hot dogs? We use hot dogs as well. It's good, yummy wolf junk food for sure, but they use it straight from the packages versus cooking.
So
Can I answer that?
Hot dogs.
Yeah,
raw
I was just, go ahead.
Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, they eat raw steak every morning. So cooking it and making it nice and crispy and has a different flavor. So it's more treat-like. And yes, you can use hot dogs straight out of the, but when you warm them up, they get that hot dog smell and flavor, and they like them even more. So that's why we do it. I mean, they get steak every day. So giving them steak treats raw is not as much fun as giving them a different flavor, basically.
I see, because they would look at it as a meal versus, I'm just getting in more breakfast versus I'm getting something special.
Exciting, flavor-wise and smell-wise.
Yeah. Another question is the diet different for a low content wolf dog versus a high content wolf dog?
Go ahead, Chels.
Yeah, so we, based upon the content of the animal, we definitely try to adhere to something that is going to be balanced for dog GI tract and digestion versus wolf's GI tract and biology, which are two very different things. We've noticed over the years that we've been working with these animals that wolves just cannot live off of kibble. They don't do all. I mean, they could be sustained maybe for a short while. It's been done, but they're just not the healthiest. You can tell in their coat, their teeth, their body condition. All of those things really start showing if they're just on kibble. Whereas when we have low content wolf dogs, it's really much better for them to be primarily on a really balanced kibble diet.
Well, I can say that here in our household, we've taken the recommendation and we use the kibble that you guys use now too. But
It's made a huge difference. It's
What was-
the formula has made a huge difference in their health, their energy, their vibrance, their coats, everything. And you know, when we first started, 11 years ago, we didn't have the opportunity to give them the nutrition that we wanted to. We were functioning out of another recipe that only had kibble available, dog kibble. And at that time, the entire pack just had chronic diarrhea. And the minute that we were able to start giving them the food that they needed, right? Started giving them the protein. We started adding, first of all, we started adding raw egg to the kibble. That started to bind things up. And then when we transitioned them onto the adding in that raw meat with the bone supplement, all of a sudden everything came like perfect health. So that in itself was a very obvious telltale sign that this was not healthy, because obviously it's perfect for the digestion.
Thank you, Paula. You broke up a little bit there, but I think we got the gist of what you were trying to say. So thank you so much. That's about it for the questions from the viewers today. Do you guys have any? I mean, obviously, I have a lot of questions. Actually, Chelsea, I'd love to talk to you offline to make sure we're giving our boys the best that we can. And do you have any final comments? I mean, I know it must be it has to vary by animal, correct? So it's just a matter of paying attention and having some discernment and seeing what's going on with your own dog or wolf dog. Yes?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the crate training if we have a minute. That it was a really fun discovery. I mean, we started feeding them eventually in crates to get them used to and associating a positive experience with crates, because if there's a fire or we have to get out of here, they have to go in a crate, right? And if you've ever tried to get an animal that's never been in a crate in a hurry, it's pretty difficult. So we started, some of them already did go in crates. Thor and Loki, we raised from puppies, so they were used to crates. And then we started really experimenting with Riggs, because we wanted him to be able to go into a crate to get off the property. And what we discovered was he was living with Kona at the time, and we would have to leash them to feed them because they would go for each other's food, and that would start a big squabble. When we started feeding him in the crate, and getting a wolf, and he's a wolf, he's not a wolf dog, getting him to go into a crate, was a process, and it was a positive process. There was no negative training at all, but eventually, as you see now, he runs into the crate. We say, go to bed, and he runs straight into the crate. We close the crate, we give him a treat. It's the same routine every day. But what we discovered was it gave him an element of safety. Now he can eat his food without anyone else bothering him, because they can't get to him. He doesn't get to anybody else. And so he slowed down tremendously, although in that video, he was very hungry apparently, but he slowed down tremendously while he was, and he, he was able to enjoy his food a little bit and not feel rushed. So we started doing it with the others, and Sarge was particularly difficult because he was very food aggressive, as Paula mentioned in the video. But we don't close the gate on Sarge, but we put it in. And so then we started doing it with Selena. Kona is really good at getting into a crate, so we don't really do that with him anymore. Ryder loves her crate. She likes to take naps in her crate. She goes in there when the door's open. So it became this experience that we never imagined he would just run straight in there.
Yeah, that's great. We had a similar at our house as well, but that's amazing how they learn that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. There was just one more thing that that Chelsea started the reason that we feed our pack twice a day that I want her to explain, because I really appreciate that, because at one point, there are a lot of sanctuaries in the country who, they try to emulate the wild wolf's diet in captivity. And by feeding them maybe once a week or once every, they stagger it, they have fast a lot. And so I brought it to Chelsea and I said, hey, what do you think about doing this? And I found her answer really fascinating and it made perfect sense. And it kind of made me think, that I want her to explain it, because I just thought it's great. And it tells you why twice a day instead of doing what, wolves end up having.
Thanks. Right. So that idea makes sense until you really start thinking about just how hard it is living in the wild, and if that's truly the most ideal situation for them. It's tough to hunt. It's tough to actually take down prey, and that's something that they are pretty much forced to sustain. However, is that something that is the most beneficial to them? Because we know that their lifespan in the wild for many different reasons is so much shorter than it can be in captivity with proper husbandry. And so we find just that if they can eat the 2 meals a day with the balanced nutrition, it really keeps their gut healthy and it keeps them at the utmost health. And it really allows us to monitor them and be able to identify when things aren't going well, based upon their appetite and their weight and all those things. It's most certainly the healthiest possible way. Even if they ate just once a day, we'll sometimes see a lot of like gastric reflux and things like that start happening. So, despite them doing that in the wild, it's not always the healthiest option for them.
It's more of just what
Out of
they
necessity.
out of necessity, but
Right.
it's not biological.
Right.
Which
If they could, they probably would eat it every single day.
right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So that I always thought was fascinating.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Absolutely. I said it yesterday. It's such a gift that you have Chelsea there on staff with her expertise. We're getting lots of amazing comments again. Hello, everyone. So good to see you, that sort of thing. As you know, we're going to cut it a little 5 minutes early today because I need to dive into the advocacy webinar, but we're going to be seeing you all later this afternoon.
Can't wait for the webinar. I'm so excited.
Okay, everyone. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon right here. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We love the Apex Protection Project and spending some time with them. And that was fascinating to hear, and also fascinating that they have somebody on staff who understands how that their dietary needs really work. So thank you for sharing that with us, Apex. We really appreciate that. Up next, for those of you who have joined in on the advocacy workshop with Ken Ferber, you have the email. It is a webinar. It is not online here.